Good morning, everybody. Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you guys are well. Happy Monday. And I'm going to start this one off with the common goodbye phrase of take care of yourself. What does that mean? Somebody told me that the other day, and I was like, maybe I've been in the fitness business too long because I started dissecting what that little goodbye expression actually means. Yes, it's like take care of yourself till I see you again, maybe safe travels, keep working out. Could mean a whole bunch of things. So anyway, I wrote an article on it. It's up on military.com later today. And I think it's a whole bunch of things. And if you think about the four things that we can do for self-care or take care of yourself, however you want to call it, the four big ones are exercise, sleeping, eating well, and breathing, because all of those will help us recover, mitigate stress, and essentially perform better and live longer. That is very important because if you're not doing these four things in a good balance, the typical things that show up, and this is later on in your life, in your younger years, it would mean probably less ability, maybe poor performance in whatever you're doing. But typically later in life, it pops up again as cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, cancers. It's a long list of things that will kill you. So those are the big four: exercise, sleep, eating, and breathing, right? And I'm not going to get into them too much because this is just an intro. You can read the article if you want over on military.com fitness section. It'll be posted probably by noon today. Um, but yeah, learning how to breathe is a real important one. Focus on breathing to relieve stress. Humans are able to do that. We have a natural ability to lower our heart rate, lower our stress hormones by just focusing on good deep breaths, big inhales, big exhales. You can do it in a rhythm of a box: 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold. There's about a dozen different ways to breathe to help you mitigate stress, slow your heart rate down, help you relax. But here's some real quick ones. I'm just going to go through these. These are like things that you can do for 5 minutes that are great forms of taking care of yourself. Real quick, take a break. No matter what you're doing, take a break. Right? If you're sitting all day, take a break every hour. If you're working really hard, take a break every hour. Take a sip of water, hydrate, electrolyte. If you're sweating, take a break. Right? Don't just work through something hour after hour, sitting all day. Next thing you know, you try to stand up and you're stiff and you can't move. That's not helping you. So keep moving, stay mobile, take a break every hour. List three things you're grateful for. Attitude of gratitude just makes you happier, right? And that goes a long way. It can also help you reduce stress, anxiety. It is a win-win. Find something you're grateful for. If you don't have a whole lot to be grateful for, the fact that you're still among the living, there's one, right? And you can control your breathing, take care of some anxiety or stress, and get focused on what you need to do to improve your current situation. Another one is walk outside, get fresh air, sunlight. Health benefits always round. Not only mitigate stress, but vitamin D, good stuff. Bone health, immune response, general well being. Highly recommend that. When you take a break, walk outside. There's a 2-for-1 deal. While you're walking, think of three things that you're grateful for. Bam. Getting it all done. 5 minutes, all it takes. Straighten and clean up around you. That's something I need to do today. Straighten up. I got all these books laying around I need to get rid of. In fact, I may get rid of some books today and just mail them out as a gift. So I'll tell you the secret word, first person that pops up that secret word in a little bit, I'll send them a book of their choice that I have sitting right here that I just want to get rid of. Other one is regular checkups. Don't blow off the doctor. Go to the dentist. Something I try to do every time I go to the doctor and go to the dentist is have a PR, right? Best blood pressure, best cholesterols, blood sugars, no cavities. Those are big. There you go. Got to keep you healthy. All right, so that's how we take care of ourselves. So when someone says, take care of yourself, let it sink in a little bit as to exactly what that means. All right, so there's my intro. You guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them. I appreciate your time coming on here. Yeah, I tell you what, poor performance is definitely a sign of under recovery. Now, it could just be because you're not doing enough, but it could also mean that you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, you're just not recovering from it well enough. Eating, sleeping, relaxing, hydrating, electrolytes, all of those things are going to help you balance out that recovery seesaw. Because when you work out real hard, you want to make sure you're getting a good night's sleep and eating well. There's 90% of your recovery right there. C Ray, how you doing, buddy? All right, let's see what else we got over here. I'm not sure what that means, so I'm not even going to read it. Uh, Okay, question, kind of. Stay on your side or go to your stomach during the CSS glide? Been told staying on my side makes me slower. I don't know. I've seen some guys on their side that are really fast, so it really depends on your streamline. That's probably what's making you slower. But I will say this: I personally kick on my side and turn to glide over on my belly. I get that top arm pull and I turn to breathe and back on my side again. So it's a mix of both. You just rotate slowly during the glide. Where people screw this up is they think they got to kick and be over on their belly immediately. And what happens is they already start the turn in the middle of their kick and it weakens their kick. Imagine jumping 90 degrees or jumping and turning 90 degrees in the middle of that jump. It's going to weaken that jump. That's exactly what you're doing to your kick when you turn too soon. So, my advice, kick on your side while you're gliding 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, boom, and you pull on 3. So, give yourself a couple of seconds to rotate over on your belly. If you want to rotate over on your belly, there's no rule saying you have to. There's no rule saying you have to stay on your side either. It's kind of preference. Glad I started going to the doctor every 6 months. Wouldn't have known I had a low vitamin D and high cholesterol. Yeah, I mean, that's why you do it. Exactly. Thoughts on the Whoop watch? I had a Whoop band for a while. Um, and it was fun. I had it for about a year. And basically, what I did is I went through my entire cycle, my, fall, winter cycle, my spring, summer cycle, right? And I wanted to see the calories I was burning, the recovery I needed on that. Kind of got it, understood it. It was pretty cyclical with the way my cycles go. And I was like, you know what? I think I've had enough of it. And for me, it was a little too much technology than I really needed. But it was fun while it lasted. I made some cool stuff. Um, I for Mother's Day, I made a Happy Mother's Day thing, and this is just funny. It took me about half an hour to do this, but this is probably the coolest thing I got out of the Whoop band. See if I can find it. I'll find it here in a second. It's almost coming. It was a couple of years ago, so I think I did it about 2021. So it's way back here. Ah, here we go. All right. I don't know if you can see this. Try to. There you go. So that's me saying Happy Mother's Day on this gigantic, about 600-meter field. Um, and I wrote it out. So it tracked me on what I was doing. So that was a gift I gave to my wife for Mother's Day, along with a cute picture of their kids. So yeah, that was the best thing I got out of the Whoop band. Is it useful? Sure. I was very excited to kind of see how many calories I burned doing a Sam Baby Devil Murph or Run Swim Ruck, for a for a Spec Ops triathlon. So yeah, I mean it was useful. How important is knot tying for buds? Do you have your students practice that at all? Absolutely. In fact, if you go on to my Instagram, which this question is from Instagram, you will see me tying all 5 knots in a video, walking you through it. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend doing it on a breath hold, on land, and then practicing a knot at a time on a breath hold underwater. Do you have any swim routines to get ready for buds? Wow. Yeah, I do. Have a whole bunch of them. In fact, 6 days a week, right here. 6 days a week, right here. Whole bunch of swim routines. Man, try Google. In fact, I have some free ones in articles too. Try the 50-50 swim workout. It's a classic. On leg day, swim with fins. You should do that. Oh, that's okay. I understand you're new to this journey. Only been doing swim routines, getting ready for buds for about 25 years. And sometimes I realize that not everybody's been on the same journey as me. So I have to take a big deep breath and answer that question. Is 8-minute swim, 500-meter CSS a good time? Absolutely. It's a great time. How do you fix rotator cuff surgery, shoulder injury on left shoulder? I'd probably go to a physical therapist and don't ask coaches. Actually, ask somebody who works on rotator cuff injuries. Can you add me to the live for just a moment? No. Go do your own live. I was referring to your recommendation to straighten up your intermediate environment. An orderly environment can decrease anxiety. Oh, absolutely. That's what I meant by cleaning up. Oh, I see. Your question that I skipped? All right. My bad. We definitely have energy attached to our environment. Whether the environment is orderly or chaotic matters. Got it. Sorry. I read that real fast and I was like, yeah, I didn't see a question in there, so I skipped right over it. Yes, you're absolutely correct. All right. So I don't see any more questions. You guys got nothing? Um, so here's something I want to touch on because last time we talked, I think it was Tuesday, might have been Monday's live. I'm not sure. Um, Somebody had asked about officer or enlisted, and I gave a big response about there's different jobs. Really depends on you. Um, you got a college degree, do you enlist or you go officer? I kind of was somewhere in the middle with that answer, and it says, it's like, try SOAS, see if you get it. If you don't, you go enlisted. If you do, consider officer or enlisted. But regardless, you'll at least know how the process to become an officer works. So if you decide to enlist, you can later become an officer, because I think you have until age 40, maybe 42, 30. It used to be 36, but it's somewhere in the late 30s where you can, do 10 years as enlisted SEAL and then become an officer if you want to. Some people do. It's called a Mustang. That's actually a nickname for, prior enlisted going officer is a Mustang officer, and seen some great ones out there. And you kind of learn, kind of like on the job training. Think of it as to become an officer and just a better SEAL in general. So that's probably the better full answer to that question, because I left out the opportunity to enlist first and then later become an officer if you so choose. We've had multiple people do that. Some of them went to SOAS, didn't get selected, decided to enlist. Some of them didn't go to SOAS, decided to enlist right out of college, and went on, got through buds, became enlisted SEAL for a couple of cruises, and then became a officer later. Probably a couple of dozen have done that over the years. Let's see. Caleb says, thanks to started learning the CSS with your PST prep book about 3 months ago. My average 500-meter CSS swim is 8 minutes flat. Yeah, that's a great score. Let's see. Do you know what's a great way to increase push-up numbers? Yeah. Other than the 14-day push-up program. Sure. Volume. You need more push-ups. That's going to help you, because your first push-up is a strength exercise. Same for pull-ups. And your 100th is a muscle stamina endurance exercise. So you got to build up that volume with your training. So I would recommend the 3 times a week crush any fitness test workout plan. 3 favorite workouts to crush a fitness program. This is my answer to you, and it has nothing to do with the 14-day program. This one I think is a more logical approach than daily push-ups. It works. Daily push-ups does work when you're first beginning this process, but if you've been at it for a while, you may not see the great results that most people do in the beginning. But yeah, read that article I just posted in YouTube. I'll post it over here in Instagram as well. But the title is my 3 favorite workouts to crush fitness tests: pyramid, superset, and a max rep set. That will do it, I promise you. Let's see, what do I think of SealFit Crucibles? I've completed one. I think it's a good taste of what buds will be like. I agree. I think Mark runs a great pre-seal camp out there. He's been doing it for years, and he's really good at it. So you want a taste of it? I'm sure it's a good one. What's your buds class? This is the class I graduated with. See that? 182. If you were shipping out to basic training again, how would your last month and last week of training at home look like? Great question. We have to write something on that one. My advice is, let's say you're doing this program, you're preparing for buds. Do that, period. And I would recommend taking it as high as you can, because don't even think about tapering or anything before boot camp. Just go hardcore. Be burned out, tired when you show up at boot camp, because guess what? You are going to be tapering for 8 weeks at boot camp. You just won't have time to work out like you normally do. You might be able to squeeze in some workouts a little bit, maybe maintain a little bit of what you got, but most of the time you will get out of shape at boot camp. Navy boot camp is not something that is designed to get you in better shape. Now, if you do nothing at all, yeah, you're probably going to get in better shape. But any guy going spec ops, spec war, going to get out of shape. So my advice is this: don't change anything, go hardcore. If you want to do something hard, but don't get hurt. That's the biggest thing. Just don't want to get hurt. Don't be stupid and do something so hard that it breaks your hips or legs and now you can't ship out. Currently doing track in high school and I feel like my mile time has plateaued at 6:20. How can I get that time down? Well, first of all, I'd talk to your coach because running track competitively is different than running military timed runs. It just is because you're doing so much other stuff in the military, especially spec ops prep, that if you're topping off a lot of what you're doing with weight training and military training and stuff while you're trying to do well in high school track, you may want to pull back a little bit on that and just focus on your track. Like every other runner on that team is probably just focused on running. The fact that you're on here listening probably means you might be preparing for military as well. Anything that doesn't look like track workouts could be slowing you down, right? So that is one of the things that I have seen countless people do as they are preparing for the military, which I think is great, but it usually comes at a cost at their performance in their sport sometimes, unless they do it right and give themselves some time actually after their season to prepare for what they're trying to do and not have some set timeline that forces you to do too much in the middle of a season. But my advice is if you're trying to get a 6-minute mile pace or faster, start running 6-minute mile paces. That can look like a minute 30 quarter mile, could look like a 3-minute half mile, but start practicing the pace that you want to get better at, because you got to practice learning the pace. You got to practice knowing what that pace feels like. You got to get your legs a little faster. Make sure you're hydrated and fueled because you're probably going to be pushing some anaerobic zones. So it could be a fueling issue just as much as you just not knowing what 6-minute pace feels like yet. I know you say not to use caffeine before fitness tests because your heart rate's already high, but what are your thoughts on energy drinks, pre-workout, coffee for day-to-day work life? If you need it, I have been through like getting myself off of coffee or tea and caffeine in general. I will say this: I was completely off of caffeine last summer at this time, like early spring last summer. By June, I hadn't had caffeine in like 3 months because I gave it up for Easter and Lent, and I was on a roll, right? And then my dad has a stroke. We're spending a lot of hours in the hospital, and I was like, I need some caffeine because I can't even drive home. Um, so I got back on caffeine. Nothing crazy. I uh, I used to drink a lot of unsweet iced tea throughout the day, which probably was a lot of caffeine back then. Now I do decaf unsweet tea, and I may have like one caffeinated tea in the morning now. So I'm working on it. But I mean, do you need it? No, not really. But is it helpful to keep you awake if you're studying all night or you got work and you need to keep your focus? Absolutely. But I'm here to tell you, I'm not a fan of it during workouts, even during like heavy lifting workouts when I'm not even running. It just doesn't, for me, it doesn't feel right. Um, Feels like my heart's coming out of my chest, and maybe I'm just sensitive to caffeine. And you know, in any high dose other than a cup of tea, iced tea, it it's I start really fluttering in my heart rate, and it's crazy. So that's coming from my experience. So I'm not sure it's that helpful. Though I will say, you know, I got up at 5 a.m. the other day, did a 6 hour car ride, and yes, I had caffeine as soon as I woke up to go on that car ride. That was helpful. Marine boot camp advice. Yeah, man. Marine boot camp's no joke. Remember me talking about Navy boot camp a minute ago? You're a whole lot different. You need to prepare for boot camp because Marine Corps boot camp is going to be tough. You're going to be running, you're going to be doing pull ups and push ups and obstacle courses, um, rucking. I mean, you are going to be proud at the end of your Marine Corps boot camp that you finished. I promise you that. Because you earned it physically, right? Emotionally, mentally. I mean, it is tough on you. You learn a lot of cool stuff there. You learn how to be a Marine, and you know, the Navy boot camp and Air Force basic training is a little bit easier physically. Learn how to be a sailor, learn how to be an airman, but it's nowhere near like the spec ops level that you're about to endure afterwards. So my advice for you is, yeah, you might want to take an easy week the last week before you go and just be well rested, ready to go. But before you head out there, you want to be running 3 miles fast. You want to be able to do double digit pull ups, plank pose for 4 minutes. I think the max is like 3:30, but if you practice 4 minutes, you're going to crush it in a test. But yeah, yeah, good job, man. When you're done with boot camp and you get that globe and anchor, take a picture of it in your hand. You know, send it to me because I always like to see those as you're going to feel very proud of yourself. So thanks for serving. Wait, tea has caffeine? Yeah, tea has a lot of caffeine. Tea has as much caffeine as coffee. Some coffees. Let's see. Black tea does. Like you might have a green tea or an herbal tea that has no caffeine, but I don't drink those. Um, all right, you mentioned costochondritis before. Any tips on how to manage or prevent it? Strengthening or stretching? Stretching. I don't know, to be honest with you. My wife has it, and she manages it with Motrin. Um, I would Google that term and that question and see what the physical therapists say on YouTube, because you'll probably find something out more useful than me saying, hang and stretch and do some plank poses. I mean, I would imagine that would strengthen it and stretch your torso, but those little muscles in between the ribs, when those get inflamed, it hurts. I mean, I remember my wife first had it. She thought she was having a heart attack and found out she has costochondritis. Is a good plan to develop max strength with, say, overhead press or weighted push ups and then transfer it into strength endurance to increase push ups. That's one way to do it. I've seen it done both ways and done both ways well. So I was a power lifter that didn't care about push ups or pull ups. So I built my strength first and then worked on muscle stamina after I was no longer playing football and doing powerlifting, and that worked. But I've also seen cross country kids who come in with no upper body experience, um, are able to transition into muscle stamina very quickly. Once they get their first few reps in, their muscle stamina shoots off exponentially. And usually, when we have cross country kids come in to work out with us, they're light, they're fast, they kill us in the run. If they're good swimmers, that's great. But if they're not, we kill them in the pool. We usually crush them um, under a pull-up bar. But within 6 to 8 weeks, they are catching up to all of us with their calisthenics. So it's a quick one. Whereas a muscle strength guy who's big, it's got to lose some weight, it may take a little longer. But that's one way to do it, for sure. Let's see. You talk about electrolytes. How much is too much? Right now, can one scoop 500 milligrams after each run workout? Thoughts are too much or too little. You know what? I would double check that. I usually just take these things. Like this is triple hydration. It's a generic thing from Walgreens, a little cheaper, probably real similar to um, Liquid IV. In fact, I'm looking to see how much. Damn, little ass writing. Hang on a second. Got to put my old man glasses on. Um, yeah, it looks like 380 milligrams of potassium and 500 milligrams of sodium. So there you go. That's usually what I do. And I only take that if I'm sweating profusely. So after each run or workout, thoughts on too much or too little? Well, you can get too much sodium. And if you do, you're probably going to notice it in water retention, um, which can be dangerous at sometimes because it can lead to fuel. I'm sorry, lead to water um, backing up in your lungs. Actually, I've seen that one time where a kid just was worried about cramping on the like treads workouts. So he was staying on top of his electrolytes a little too much because he hadn't sweat at all those prior couple of hours to it and had some water in his lungs that he was unable to get out because I don't know. I don't know what happened exactly, but that's about the only thing I've ever seen of somebody getting too much caffeine or too much sodium, and I don't know what that number was that he got. But I think if you keep it at the 500 mark and maybe do one of these every, if you're sweating profusely for multiple hours, you're probably going to want these every 2 or 3 hours. It's a good idea to dead hang for a bit to get your arms used to it for being able to do a pull up? Or is it dangerous since my arms aren't used to holding up that much weight? Good question. I will tell you this. I'm not a big fan of dead hang, relaxed shoulder pull ups because remember that question about rotator cuff injuries? When you just dead hang like that, completely relaxed, really the only thing that's holding your shoulders together are those rotator cuff muscles and tendons. So, I mean, obviously you have your deltoids and all that stuff too, but you're getting a little extra strain on those rotator cuff tendons and muscles. So my advice is this: keep your shoulders a little racked, like don't relax your shoulders. You still can go all the way up and all the way down, but don't let your shoulder like pull out of its socket almost and like touch your ears. Keep your shoulders down here versus letting them pop all the way up. Does that make sense? But yeah, if you're heavy in doing that, you're making your little rotator cuff muscles scream. Um, is there any way to prepare for the elevation at Air Force Academy? Air Force 29. Hey, man, congrats. Um, I will say this, when we played rugby at Navy and we would go to Air Force and play them, we doubled our cardio that like 2 weeks before. So basically, what we would do is before school started that day, we did a run workout. One day was a bike workout, one day was a run workout. Think bike or swim. If you weren't good at swimming, you could go on the bike. But as a team, we would do run workouts in the morning. In between that, we do bike or swim workouts. Um, and we got in better cardio shape for that event. It at least made us feel like we were. I don't know if we were physiologically getting in better cardio shape, but we probably were. Um, so that's what we did. We just bumped up the cardio a lot. So that's what I would do. Whether you're running more or you're throwing in biking or swimming. Something we did with the pool was really, I thought was kind of smart, was we would do freestyle and we would skip breathe. So we would, do like 8 to 10 strokes per breath. Got really winded during swimming. And that just kind of got you used to being, having that heart rate up higher, getting used to, handling the CO2 that you were creating in your body. So whether or not that made it better for us is debatable, but that's what we did. Sugar-free Pedialyte. Yep, that's a good one too. Drink half of it straight, then top it off with water and sip it the rest of it. Yeah, that's what I usually do as well. Like when we're in the middle of our summer training outside and it's humid, already hot, first thing in the morning, you're going to sweat your butt off out there. I usually make sure I have a banana before I even go, and then have one of these in my water bottle and just sip that throughout the whole um, workout, and that helps a lot as well. And then afterwards, um, definitely rehydrate and get some more electrolytes because tomorrow's going to be just as bad. I will tell you this: here's how important that is. Because if you have Spec Ops Dreams, I've seen Spec Ops Dreams end quickly because of lack of water, dehydrated, no electrolytes, or bonking on fuel. So he had low blood sugar, right? And just didn't have enough fuel to do what they needed to do in between meals. So you got to snack. Whatever that snacking looks like, whatever works for you, get on it. Did I see my buddy Jay Harvard over there? What's up, buddy? My high school buddy. Um, let's see here. A couple more questions. For the maximal PT pyramid, if we are only doing push-ups for the pyramid, how long of a rest is recommended in between sets? I will tell you this, if you're doing the PT pyramid, you should do other exercises because it is an active rest circuit. Otherwise, I would do this. If you're just doing push-ups, mix in a run. Do a minute run in between sets and rest with running. All right, because you're trying to work on endurance and muscle stamina. So you don't want to just do nothing in between those sets. I mean, you can, sure, you can. You can rest a minute. And for me, in my mind, I feel like I'm wasting time by sitting, 19 minutes of that workout is rest if you're doing a 1-10-1. I just think my time could be spent doing something else. But by all means, if you need to get better at push-ups and you need to rest, rest. But if you don't, do an active rest. Try to work another muscle group or your cardio in between sets. What cardio plan would you recommend for someone who's 240, trying to cut down weight and eventually trying to jump into a progressive running plan? Great question. I see it every year. Bunch of people come in that are finishing up their football or powerlifting careers and trying to go into Spec Ops, and they're big. You're trying to lose some weight. So my advice is this. You can do what I did. I did triathlon training, just self-inflicted. I wasn't like on anybody's triathlon plan. I basically ran, swam, and biked. Those are the 3 cardio things I did throughout the week. So I would run, but I would also have 2/3 of my cardio that day being non-impact cardio. So I progress logically with my running. If you don't run anything at all, maybe you only run 5 miles a week, like a mile a day, but you're going to spend 30 or 40 minutes doing other forms of cardio each day, and then that progresses each week. So the other forms of cardio being non-impact cardio, biking and swimming. If you want to add elliptical some days, you can, sure. Walking is a great one too. Put a backpack on and walk. It's a great one to burn some calories. So that's how I would do it. I would kind of treat it as a triathlon plan. Like, don't go too crazy with the running, and just remember, have a set number of cardio time you want to do in that day. Maybe it's an hour and a half, right? So 15, 20 minutes is running. The rest of the time is broken up between swimming and biking. Your knees will thank me for that. I promise. What are your thoughts of running stairs for cardio? I like it. I don't think you need to do it every day, but definitely on a leg day, perfect. I mean, we will run bleachers. We'll do weight vest stair stepper workouts, which is a really good one if you really want to work it hard. In fact, there's a great weight vest workout we do, and I wrote it in an article. It is called, I'll put a link in here. For those looking to join Spec Ops, weighted stair steppers are a useful tool. So check this out. I'll put it over here on Instagram as well. You can see the link. Is the seasonal tactical fitness periodization workouts good for someone who's trying to get better at everything as a beginner? Good question. I also saw it as someone that's already somewhat fit. Yes, it is meant for someone who is intermediate at worst. If you're a beginner, you can use it, but you need to modify it significantly. And what I mean by that is you need to cut the mileage in half, replace mileage of running with biking, cut the reps in half, reduce the weight if it's weighted cycles. But yeah, it's the workout system is useful for any level of fitness, but you're going to have to personalize it for you, because there's some people who do this that don't have access to a pool. They're swimming in this 5 days a week. So you're going to have to replace that swimming cardio, or just scratch it out because you don't need it, and maybe replace it with something else. So there's an article I wrote on adapting workouts for your level, adapting programs for your level of fitness. Check this out. This is a good article to read, and you can kind of see, because no matter what workout program you buy, unless it is personally made for you, it's not personally made for you. That means you have to personalize these type of programs to your fitness abilities, your time per day, days per week, your equipment, your facilities, all of those things come into play. Your logistics of getting from A to B. Some people have to go to the gym and then drive across town to go to a pool. There's some logistical issues that may not work in the way I have these workouts set up. For you, you're going to have to move things around to make it work as best you can. And you can do that. You just have to get creative and be realistic with your time and do that. And it's not that hard. Plus, guess what you can do? You can email me or hop on a live and ask me a question and I'll help you with it. How about that? You can't beat that. That's a good deal. Found out I can't go EOD with my eyesight. Were there any jobs that work closely with you in your career as a SEAL that would recommend go? What's wrong with your eyesight? I mean, unless you have color blindness or depth perception issues, if it's just you reading letters on a chart, there's corrective surgery to fix that. So, Harry, before I answer that, no, they said that won't fix it. Who's they? A doctor or a recruiter? And what is exactly wrong with your eyes? Because you haven't given us that information. But I will go ahead and try to answer you as best I can. Intelligence, crypto, those are jobs that are at SEAL teams. Medical, though you're probably not going to be a medic in a SEAL platoon unless you're a SEAL. But they do have like dive medical technicians. Not sure if you can get into that, but really it depends on your eyes. I was wondering which of your books would you recommend to go through the SARC pipeline? Check out, I don't have a picture of it here. Check out Navy PST Phase 1 and the recon workout, because you're going to have to go through recon training as a SARC. So, yeah, Marine Corps, you're going to have to take the Marine Corps fitness test. So anything Marine Corps is going to prepare you for that. Can't get corrected to 2020 and only 2025. Civilian doc says LASIK only fixes the lens cornea. Mine are fine. Okay, that makes sense. He said it's with my retina. Not sure why he can't get me to 2020 or better. Okay, yeah. Well, that sucks. But you don't. That is so weird. Have you talked to a Navy doctor on that one as well? Because 2025. Oh, I see what you're saying. Can't get corrected to 2020. Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, IT, or sorry, intelligence specialist, cryptology. I mean, there may be others, but those are the two big ones that I know that there are spots not only at regular SEAL teams, but at Dev Group as well. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right, I'm going to get rid of some books, like I said. So I want you to say, send me the SEAL book. If you want to go to Buds, this one's it. Send me the SEAL book. First one I see gets it. And then I'm going to ask you for your email address. Or sorry, your mailing address, and I will mail it to you. So I'm not going to do that over this. I want you to email me. All right. Zeno got it. Sorry, Ellison, you just missed it. So Zeno, you got it over here on YouTube. So here's what I want you to do, Zeno. I want you to email me, stu@stewsmith.com, your name and shipping address, and I will get this book to you. And I will sign it. Look at that. Already signed. Never quit. Stu Smith. Okay. All right. How about this one? Send me the spring training seasonal tactical fitness periodization book. You don't have to say that. Just say, send me the spring training book. Send me the spring training book. First one. All right. I got you. So on Instagram, got it this time. Sorry, Mr. Fusion. You just missed it. Looks like Harry K. Roker. Got it? Send me the spring training book. I will send that to you. I want you can DM me your name and shipping address, and I will get that to you, Harry. So Harry's got that one. Let me see what else we got here. Fall, winter. I got a fall, winter cycle. Send me fall, winter cycle book. First one that says that. Send me fall, winter cycle book. Gets it. Send me fall, winter cycle book. Send me spring training. Nope, you missed it. Fall, Mr. Fusion, you got it. All right, you got this one. This is a fun one. I like this one. This one's a 24 weeker. Sorry, James. YouTube, Mr. Fusion got it. So we'll put this up there. Mr. Fusion, you got the thing. So just email me, stu@stewsmith.com, your name and shipping address. I will get that to you. And also remind me what book you won, because I may forget, because I'm going to give out two more. Give out two more here. All right. Send me fall training cycle. Send me fall training cycle. This is my seasonal tactical fitness periodization. It's a great one for after a summer of high mileage of running and swimming and high rep calisthenics. Makes a transition into the fall and winter lift cycle a little bit easier. Send me the fall, not winter, just the fall. Fall training cycle. James got it. James Z. Samsel? Yeah. James, you got it. DM me your name, shipping address, and what book you won, and I will send it to you. All right, one last one. Now, I know not everybody wants to do this job, but if you do, great. It is the Coast Guard Navy SAR Rescue Swimmer Workout. No flip turns on the PST. Send me the SAR workout, SAR workout. Now, I will say this. This is a really good one. A lot of people have used this for PJ training as well as even Navy dive school. It's got some good swim, run, PT workouts in. It's just not specifically designed for, like Navy dive school or stuff like that. It's more of the swimming skills of it. So if you want the SAR workout, just put it in there and I'll send it to you. In fact, I'm just going to leave it on my desk. And if somebody who is listening later wants that workout book, just say, send me the SAR workout book with your name on it and address, and I'll send it to you. Oh, okay. Somebody said, send me the Coast Guard workout. You got it. Thomas Velikas. That's yours. So email me, or DM me, stu@stewsmith.com, the book that you won and your address and name and address, and I will send them to you. So I got some books to send out today. But you know what I'm doing? Clearing out the clutter on my desk. Taking care of myself. All right. So what else we got here? Send me the mental toughness book. It is worth a try. I have that one right there just for people to see it because it's a good one. Maybe I'll give that away tomorrow. um, I'm actually buying a whole bunch of them and going to sign them all and probably, sell those and give some of those away as well. But for now, I'm keeping that one. I'm still going through it, just making sure everything's solid on it. All right, folks, I got to go. Hope you had fun with this one. Don't forget, those who won something, send me an email or DM with your name and address. I'll get these out to you today. And I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll do a live Q&A with CSS critiques as well in there. So I appreciate your time. I will see you guys later.